Here. I know May gets to be a very busy season with sporting events and one thing and another. In fact, several of our steering committee members can't be here tonight, but we're glad you're here. We're going to have some fun. You're going to hear about some exciting new developments, and so we're glad to have you here. And so if you haven't put a name tag on, if you take a marker out and put a name tag on, that'd be great. And if you haven't signed in, will you take time to fill out that chart over there? Okay. All right. So I have new technology tonight. I'm so proud. I got a clicker, so I don't have to run over here and do this. Isn't that 21st century for you? Okay. We'll see how it works. No, this is what we want you to do to begin with. Elmer's got it live streaming, so all of you wave and say hi to those that are watching online. Hi. They're not seeing us. No.
I can turn it.
They're not going to turn it around. But they heard you.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. So, again, we'll start with connections at our table. We've sometimes called it a grounding, but when we meet new people, we don't always know everyone at our table. So if you tell people at your table your name and share one thing you think you know about Ami Wright or his family. Something you've heard, you've read, you think's the case. And then share a hope you have for tonight's meeting. Okay? So we're going to share those three things. We're going to start with the person at your table who has the darkest colored top on. Okay? Might be a tie.
It's black underneath.
You see it as black. It's really white. I'm happy.
I got black underneath too.
We're in company.
You're right. That's right.
Yeah, I think.
I'll start. I'm Sue Deal. A lot about Wright, except I know, didn't he build Cerebella?
Yes.
For his daughter or something?
Yep.
And my hope for tonight's meeting is to find out more details about manning the booth at the Highland Festival.
You don't want first?
I bring your own.
I'm James Brown, and I think that Wright built the Wright House before his wife came to town, so she didn't see it until she came here in 1868, not 1860. I keep hoping that we'll soon have a discussion about what building's going to be used for. So what we're doing is we're supposed to be...
Yeah, I see it there.
Okay.
Ed Benson.
Oh, okay.
I'm connected with
Yeah.
her, yeah. Well, one thing, simple things. One thing is he started the sugar factory plant here, and that's one of the things that I've learned that it's not so common. But yeah, he started the sugar mill here in
What's that?
There was a post today, I think, wasn't there? Sold some shares or something back in 1904. They were 300-some thousand. Today's money would be over 12 million.
Yeah. That was only a few years after he started, too.
Yeah, just a few years after.
In fact, is that what brought him to this area?
No, lumber really brought it here. Yeah.
Well, I'm Elmer. I know so much about this guy. It's pathetic. He loved horses. He didn't like modern technology. He didn't like cars. Not that he was around for long. I could go on and on. If you want to know anything about it, just ask.
All right.
Do you need another minute, or do you get
Yeah,
around?
another minute. What do you?
Need another minute? Okay, let's take another minute, and we'll finish up.
That you don't turn that camera around. That's my hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I hope for tonight's meeting. Just to inform people more of what our goal is, like you were saying, what is for the ultimate museum / office space, whatever. Just to get everybody informed, basically, about the meeting.
In what you've been doing, all the posting you've been doing, the responses that you get, what are people excited about? What do they mention?
Well, they're excited about it being saved, big time. A lot of people were born there and they have that connection. So a lot of people want it saved regardless of what it is or what it becomes.
Let's hear one of the hopes that you have for this meeting that was shared at your table. Rochelle?
Pick me.
Okay.
We just had this conversation, and you guys are all going to get chills. We looked up the name Ani to see the origin and what it stood for,
You want me to say?
and I want you to say it.
This is how we constructively used our time.
Not answering the question.
No,
That's
yeah.
the question. So we checked the Googler, and he says that it's a symbolic name given to Israel by Hosea that means my people, and describes Israel in a state of restoration. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
The state of restoration, that is where we are. All right, that's awesome, that's awesome. These little tidbits are so exciting to learn. Okay, how about over here? What's a hope you shared at your table for tonight's meeting?
Good financial information.
Financial information, yep, there's a numbers guy. I don't blame you, I'm asking that. How about here?
Just find out the end game of where it's going, how it's getting to get there.
Okay, kind of where we are in this process and how we think we're going to finish.
Yep.
We're going to finish as winners.
Well, of course we are.
How about over there?
Of course.
It's your birthday, you tell.
It's your birthday. You win.
Can't think of a better way to spend it. Share a hope
Yeah.
for tonight's meeting. Just learn new information, new little tidbits of the financial end, the progress that the committees are making with their ideas. And
Yeah, kind of updates
Yeah,
and
just
what's
updates.
going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How about back here? Anything that was unique?
Unique? No, not really. But because we both said the same thing, so that's
Okay, all
why
right,
it's not.
all right.
But we're just hoping that this is not a sign of where our direction of our committee is going, that we started out, with a big crowd of people and we're getting smaller and smaller. I hope that's not a trend, that we can re-energize the community with interest in the program and can continue with the program at a pretty rapid rate.
Okay, so a hope is to re-energize it. I think one of the things that we've had in the last couple meetings is we've had a pretty good online audience, and so that helps. And there were a lot of people that did have, including steering committee members that couldn't make it tonight. How about over here? A wish you had?
Well, Mary and I have an idea for fundraising, and my hope is that we come across as halfway intelligent and explain this to all y'all with some degree of effectiveness.
Ed and I had dinner with Mary and John, and they have some great ideas, so that's going to be exciting. And how about over here?
Our hope is, I'm on the fundraising committee, and we have items here for sale. We have some beautiful merchandise like this mug. It's only $15. We have lots of them. So our hope is to sell lots of this because this will go to our project. We have t-shirts. We have these wonderful signs for your yard. We have little stakes to put on them, and they're two-sided, so you can put them like that in your yard. So, but just make sure the city doesn't take them away because you put them in the wrong area. But anyways, or you can just have it like this. So, you know, and they have the QR code on it. So people walking by and say, hey, wait a minute. Scan and, you know, we get more money this way. So everything's up for sale up here. So buy. That's our hope.
All right, great. Every opportunity to, you know, sell it, they're taking. That's great. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's look. What we want to do is open with prayer again tonight. The two things that we have continually prayed for since January are that we would have wisdom, that we would make wise decisions, because there are a ton of decisions to be made about how we proceed and what products we order and, you know, what events we take part in and what bids we accept and so forth. And so we need that wisdom. And then also it is the whole idea that coming together as a community, that there be unity. So let's bow for a word of prayer before we go any further tonight. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this community. We thank you for the energy and the skills and the wisdom of the people of the community and their hearts. And we would ask that you would just give an extra measure of wisdom to steering committee members, to working groups, to all of us in the community, that we would just make wise decisions that honor you, that honor the legacy that we've been given. And we would ask that we would remain in unity. We have lots of different ideas, and that's fine. We just all want to be united and pulling in the same direction and lifting one another up. Thank you for all of this. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, and we have 3 outcomes. We're going to explore Ami Wright's values. You know, we all throughout our lives, our actions, our decisions we make, the words we use, they really tell us, they give us an idea of what we value. If we looked at your checkbook, if we looked at your calendar, if we looked at those kinds of things, how you use your time, how you use your resources, what you do with your life, it would tell us a lot about what's important to you. And Ami had some really important values that we're going to look into tonight. We're going to learn about latest project developments. I know you want to hear that. And so we've got some neat things we're going to show you tonight. And then we're going to engage in a little reflection at the end of the night. So it looks like this. We did our connecting. That's outcomes and agenda. And we're going to move on to table talk and chalk. Projects, updates, and news. We're going to play a little trivia, get you ready for that trivia night. And reflection. So we're going to get to hear from fundraising, and we're going to hear what the steering committee's been up to, and then you'll have a chance to ask some questions, okay? So we're going to look, and, you know, these values are ones that I sort of picked out as I read and listened, and you might add to them, you might take away from them. But one of the things that we know about Ami Wright is that he was known for his honesty, okay? He was also humble, even though he achieved some pretty remarkable things. Humility came through. We know he was generous, the generosity. We know he was pretty ingenious, you know, that he could, and he had a vision, and he was trusting. I had calmness, but I think it's trusting, and that he had faith. And so what we're going to do next, we're perfectly divided up. There, you have 4 at each table and we have 7 tables, and I have 7 values. How about that? And so I'm going to give your table a value, and then I'll explain what we're going to do with them. So you've got generosity, ingenuity over here. That's weak. Honesty.
We probably all played that.
Yeah, right. Rust over here, and you got vision. Ooh. Okay. And so, what we're asking you to do is at your table, I'm going to give you a piece of chart paper, and you have markers in your space maker there. As a group, come up with a brief definition in your own words. Please don't Google it. Just your own group. That value you've been given. And then draw a symbol for that value. If you looked at that symbol and said, okay, that's the logo, that's the symbol, that means trust, that means ingenuity. And then hopefully you have sprinkled around the room historians so that you can give an example of how that value was portrayed, displayed in Ami's life. Okay? What questions might you have? Then we're going to have someone come up and share yours, and we're going to use these as we make progress. So I will be coming around with chart paper. Let's take about 10 minutes and see where you are at the end of 10 minutes. Okay, what questions might you have?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can Elmer come to our table?
Elmer has to stay by live stream. Yes. Nice try, though.
She's giving us paper. Oh my gosh. No coaching, because I don't know what, how to define.
He pretty much gave the whole town to us. Every building he built. Yeah. You could go on and on with the buildings he built.
Names,
Well, the Wright Hotel, his own house, Sayreville, 2 buildings at the college. They're gone now, but they were the Pioneer Hall and Wright Hall. Wright Hall got rebuilt. Now it's there again. Different. Same spot, exactly. He had did a bunch of sugar beets. He did build all the sugar beets. Gone, except for a building or 2. Out where Avalon Pontoons is now, he had Central Michigan Produce. He was in parts with the Republic Trust. Built several of the Opera House block, that whole building there. He built that.
Did he come to Alma as a wealthy man?
Yes, he was already made his big Saginaw, big money in Saginaw. He was pretty wealthy before that, too. He stopped Detroit. When he came out here, he wasn't real wealthy, but he hit it perfect with the lumbering, like Ed said. He went nuts with the lumbering, and he just bought up and was equipped with the right people, and they had enough money to get it going, and then everything just fell in place. I wouldn't say lucky, but he's in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
And everything he did turned to roses. I mean, everything was perfect. I mean, he ended up buying a ton of land in Minnesota, and before they sold it, they realized there was minerals all over the place. So then he took like his $400,000 and made like, I don't know, $500 million, let's say. Just that big of a jump. And he didn't even really touch it. He just bought the spot, figured out it had mineral rights, minerals on it all over, and then he sold it. He did that a lot. He built a lot of the railroads. And then sold them to the state because they didn't think it would be money-wise to build them. So he would take his money and build them and then sell them back to the state for a huge profit. He did that a lot.
Do you know when he was born?
Yeah, 1822. July 5th, 1822.
He was in his 40s
when he came this way.
And you came here from where?
Vermont.
Good part of the country.
We stopped in Detroit and then Shiawassee and then, Saginaw. Tried to hang out in St. Louis, but they didn't want him, so he shifted to Elma. Yeah.
And this was really rugged territory.
Oh, yeah, this wasn't settled at all. They had the railroad that didn't come here until 1871, 72, somewhere right in there, and so it really wasn't You know, the plank road that he built from Saginaw to St. Louis. That was your first road, and the railroad just basically followed the road. As you wonder why that railroad sits right next to 46, it's because they followed the road.
Did somebody have a plank road?
Breckenridge.
Breckenridge,
Yeah,
yeah.
it goes right
That's
through
right.
there.
And that was, he was the origin.
Yep. And he was in financial backers.
Impact on this whole state, really. Now
The sanitarium was right here where this building sits now.
He was attempting to better the world rather than make money because they are.
Symbol, I guess.
Sounds like it, yeah. So a brief definition of generosity.
Buildings.
Sticky end on that.
He built all the buildings. The sanitarium was right here where this building was, and it was a huge, massive building. It really wasn't. You had a sanatorium and a sanitarium. One was for the nut people, and one was for the rich that could go on vacation and get pampered. That's what ours was. And he built that.
Well, you know, in St. Louis there were the baths, and so you benefited from that too, because and there was no place in there that people would come to stay. I think the hotel there was built after the baths.
Yep, the baths were first, but St. Louis had like 8 hotels right off the bat.
St. Louis?
Oh yeah.
I grew up there, I never knew that.
I could name off several. Where the big bank is, the old bank, that was a hotel. Hotel Arno. And the Eastman Hotel was right about where Cameron 7-Eleven is now on that southeast corner. That was a big hotel right there. The Park Hotel, which was in front of the Bass House. And then there was one over on the Pine River Street or just River Street over there? Just off of
Pine River Street.
I think so. There was one at the end of that up north in Pine River Street, right on the edge of the river. There was a hotel there. And a couple were just glorified boarding houses, you know. But they had 4 or 5 real nice hotels. Right before Alma had any. What are we supposed to do?
Want you to notice you're the only ones with anything on your paper.
That's good
So,
work.
do you need some help?
Draw a symbol of that
Your
bag.
symbol should be easier on this one than
Yeah, I mean, draw some buildings. Anybody want to draw some buildings?
I'm terrible drawer.
a symbol for generosity.
Symbols, yeah.
A symbol for generosity.
Big old money.
Jane talks.
It would be like, like something that stands for his existence.
Alma College would be here if you
All of those, and then lines going out to all of these places that.
Yeah, okay, let's do a wheel, a spoke wheel.
Yeah, so he is going to be is he an X or is he a what?
Yep.
He's Amy, right, A-W.
Yep. Amy Willard Wright. It'll be on a trivia question. I'm trying to help you guys out. 'Cause I wrote all the questions for the trivia night. So I can't play. That's
So
why
their
they want
first guess is going to be what the heck that is. It's
Amy
an
Willard
E and a
Wright. I
W.
gotcha. I maybe don't say that.
You're sharp. We're going to know.
Let's do one. Everybody do a line or two. Big lines.
And I can, in no way can I depict in drawing anything. I can, I'm a word person, so we need railroads. I can do a railroad.
This could be, I'll put windows in it and make it just a building.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So the ideas, everything that developed here, he was
behind it.
At least the ideas and not.
Oh, for sure. He's financial backer, for sure.
Does this look like a railroad track?
Sure does to me.
Come on, get busy drawing one.
I'm just thinking. I'm trying to help him with it. You know how to draw a sugar beet?
That's what I was trying to think of. The sugar.
It comes down,
Yeah.
kind of like a heart. It comes down to a point at the bottom.
Yeah.
He's trying.
Yeah? Yeah?
Looks good to me with some flowers up the top.
What'd you say, produce? There's a produce company?
Central Michigan Produce. It did
was,
turn butter, milk into cream, milk into butter,
So we're sort of combining
eggs,
glass
anything like
with
that.
it.
He did that out there.
Oh, this is a sugar beet?
Yeah.
Aha!
You recognize it. Oh, gee.
Good
It would
job.
help if you had brown,
There
but
has
yes.
to be 12 of these because it's a dozen. Of course, they didn't package them that time.
Probably not.
So those are eggs,
Possibility.
and what else would you sell in produce? Tomatoes?
No, it wasn't that. It was called Central Michigan Produce, but it really was just.
Was it like a market, like it passed through, like it was grown in the area?
Yeah, everybody took their stuff there. Even people from out of town brought their stuff
Like
there.
it's where?
Yeah. They'd produce butter, cream, milk. You could get anything you wanted there. I don't know what to draw.
But they didn't have milk in it.
Okay, take about this many more minutes.
This is a milk
Good job.
It's good.
garden produce.
Yeah, it didn't have much to do with that.
No, it wasn't like it was the center was
No.
It was farmland.
It was all farmland. And he had a ton of farms. He owned farms. Draw a barn. You want to draw a barn? Or
Had it all been cleared of trees like that? Into the
Yeah, in the 20th century.
This is a pot of milk and
This is right well at Alamo. Supposed to Pioneer Hall, but I don't remember from all the pictures I've seen what it looks like exactly.
So
It would look just like this if I drew it.
then the story was he built Sarah Villa for his daughter, and
Yep.
she didn't want to live there.
Well, she didn't want anything to do with that one.
Imagine when Al's milk
It was too small.
she was from the east and
Big city, socialite type.
Yeah, it was like her summer home or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. He also fixed, he was a big person for fixing the roads around this area. Him and Gretchen should get on the same page.
so you said a sanatorium and a sanitarium?
No, we only had the good one.
We had the sanitarium.
Terry with an A. And that set really great.
Sanitarium is, no, are you sure that's right?
Right, the O is for the nut people.
Seriously,
I thought it was the other way around.
mentally needy.
The A is for the mentally
She's not looking for an answer, she's looking for a spell.
No, that's fine.
So this is some kind of building
My phone wasn't.
where people came to heal,
Yeah, and relax, get pampered, more or less.
but it wasn't a hotel.
Well, there was 130 rooms. So, I mean, it was the Sanitarium Springs Hotel after they shut the sanitarium.
Investigate health and safety within the environment, which public.
Okay. If we could have your attention this way, please.
It's an M. Sanitarium.
The example, you can just give us verbally, you don't necessarily have to write it on there.
Recognize it.
So what we're going to do now, we may have done it at an early one. Is anyone here for the first community meeting tonight? First community meeting? This is the first one? Okay, all right. You were at the first one. I was asking, I'm sorry, it wasn't very clear. Is this your first time to a community meeting? Yes, yes. Okay, welcome. And so what we're going to do is you're going to put your right hand in. We did this, I think, one other time. On your left hand back here and make a fist. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to do this 3 times. And then on the third one, we're going to point to the person at our table who's going to be your spokesperson. All right. It's a democratic process. Okay, all together, ready? All right.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3.
We all got one. We all got one.
That didn't work. And an example of the value is right here.
Yeah, right.
This is our example. Yeah.
Who's our spokesperson?
Should I write the word
Carolyn,
generous?
come on up, Carolyn.
Giving.
And so, and hold this for her. Who's going to be my Vanna? Yeah, somebody can be Vanna.
See how Vanna White has become a verb.
And I think
Yes.
the
We know that.
the live streamers will be able to see.
That makes us feel even better.
Okay, we have your attention up this way, please. Thank you.
Our value is faith, and we felt that it was a belief in a greater power, belief in self, belief in others, living in action, and actions speak louder than words. So we kind of boiled that down. We did a cloud with God in the center, and self, others, respect, family, trust, actions, community, as all pieces of that. And we felt what showed that was his accomplishments, his vision, and his values.
All right. Thank you. And how about over here? Rochelle, are you our spokesperson? Yes.
Yeah, they all pointed the arrows at me.
Your thing.
You'll be Vanna.
And Linda's going to be Dan.
I am gonna
Okay.
have to read
All right.
this. So ours was ingenuity, and our description of this was creativity. He was very bold, innovative, resourceful, hardworking, very organized, and it was great at problem solving. Our symbol for this is the light bulb. He had many, many, many ideas. And the example of how this displayed in his life was basically Linda had light bulb came on for her the other day that he literally controlled the supply chain. He owned or was in part of the bank. He had the railroad, he had the manpower, he had the finances, he had everything and the people behind him to make everything that he did for Alma happen.
Wow. That's very nice.
Very good.
You can put it up on the wall somewhere if you'd like. Okay. How about back here? Who's our spokesperson? Mike. You need a Vanna or you're one-man show?
I'm good.
Okay. All right.
We're looking for humility. Can there be a greater character for a person to have humility, especially as successful as he was in his life? We describe it as putting others first. So, he wasn't always out looking for himself. Of course he fattened his bank book, but he wasn't the only person in this county that did well from what Ami was up to. So our sign is a heart between two hands. And the example that we wanted to share was when the mansion was built, it was like the only house that had electrical power. Until Ami says, we're going to share this with everybody in the community. So he offered to hook up every other house downtown with electrical power just like his. So he was giving that to the people that lived in and around town. He could have kept it for himself. He could have, but he chose to share it.
Thank you. Back here. Who's our spokesperson?
Swims.
Mike.
Okay.
Oh, he's
Okay. Our value was trust, and so our definition came up with it must be earned. It is not just something that's automatically appears in a relationship, and it is supported by faith, action, results, loyalty, selflessness, and dependability, which sounds an awful lot like faith over there, because when you think about trust and faith, they are so tightly related. Our symbol was a circle that connects, because when you earn somebody's trust, that leads to the next level of trust, to the next value, that they are dependable, that you can give them more and more responsibility, and you know that they will follow through on it. And so we had these connecting arrows building a circle, which then puts forth a lot more synergy than if you're just working by yourself. Okay? Okay, John?
Okay, as far as an example of how that value was displayed in Ami Wright's life, let me start by saying that I grew up in Alma, and I knew who Ami Wright was the whole time, and I really didn't know what about his character until we had dinner with Ed and Pat tonight, and I asked Pat, and she said, well, yeah, he was a pretty virtuous man. You know, a lot of people from that era who had a lot of money were kind of, I don't know, scoundrels, whatever. You know, so it was good to hear that he was a virtuous man. And I think as far as trust is concerned, probably one of the reasons he was so successful in business was that people learned that they could trust him, and that's part of the reason he succeeded in life.
And he also showed that he trusted other people in the community, because he gave so much responsibility to his foremen and his leaders, and because he knew he couldn't do it all, so he knew how to pick the right people in the right places at the right time.
All right, thank you.
I was gonna wait until the camera wasn't there.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, vision.
Oh, we can't see her.
Definition, ability to see the big picture, past, present, and future. Wow. And you figure he had to have a great vision to be able to accomplish the things that he accomplished in his life. And, of course, the symbol. We think of vision, we think of eyes, and the things that would show how he displayed it with his life. Many farms locally, all characterized with huge barns, which some of us that haven't lived in the Alma area all their life or whatever did not experience the large barns, because they're all gone. And of course, houses. There's still 2 houses remaining. Factories, the Alma Sugar Factory, and of course the Advanced Thrasher Company that wasn't in Alma, but he was the president. The hotel, which stands where Alma Hardware is today, that was one of the largest hotels in Michigan at the time. And the Opera House, of course, fortunately, was saved and is now still a big part of the community. But anyway. Oh yeah, there are lots of things we could have put on there, but definitely vision.
Thank you. Okay, here.
We had a 4-way tie.
I like it.
You all pointed at someone.
Or through your head.
You want it?
Well, ours was generosity, and generosity is essentially giving of oneself, giving of money, giving in a variety of different ways. And so we started with Amy Wright here in the center as a giver. And really, the symbol is anybody, any person that is a giver in a variety of ways. We're all givers. And so we showed it sort of schematically as the person in the center, things that they give radiating out here. Of course, Amy, as has been mentioned, with some of the other ones, Alma College, the railroad, sugar beets, lumber, a whole variety of things that have been, the things that, this is so faint you can't even see it. But basically that's what we came up with, generosity. We have it going horizontal too instead of vertical like everyone else. We're outcasts.
It's gonna make it hard.
Hey, Carson.
Honesty was ours, and the definition we came up was telling the truth and being trustworthy. And the symbol was the scales that you would, you associate with law and honesty and being fair. And he was a straightforward person. An example of that is that there is a tale that he would check on the farmers, and if it was lunchtime, he would stop in, he'd check to see how the lady kept the house and what kind of a cook she was. And if neither one were good, he would tell her so. And you could take his word to the bank. He was honest, trustworthy, and what he said was true, whether it was blunt or not.
Well, that's because.
Yeah, I didn't mention it. Okay, thank you. These are important attributes of a legacy that we really have here in Alma. And so what I'm inviting you now to do is kind of go inside your head and think about this for a moment. But as you think about restoring his home, that whole restoration process, how might we pay attention and emulate and exhibit these values that Ami had, so in that restoration process, and then as we're opening a museum and we're thinking about exhibits and we're thinking about field trips and we're thinking about curriculum for the students, how might we use these? This is helping me write grants, by the way. How might we use these as we really tell the story of Ami Wright's life? And we know that it's important for the next generation of students, for adults, to be reminded these are important things, that they were important values that he held, and he maintained those throughout his life. He was kind of a self-made man. He didn't come from great wealth. He built that up over his lifetime and was successful and still held really true to these values. So take a moment. We'll start with the person with the lightest colored top on. Take that back. We're just going to have you turn to the person next to you and share what comes to mind when you think, what do we need to pay attention to as we're making decisions, we're engaging in this restoration? and what do we want to maybe put in the exhibits in the museum that helps us make those values known, helps represent those. Okay, what questions might you have? There isn't a bad idea here. Any idea that comes to your mind is good.
Can we ask the folks online to share in the comment section?
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. That's a great idea. If you're watching online, we're inviting you in the comment section to share your ideas. We're talking about two things. We're talking about how we can use those values of Amis as we make decisions and as we engage in the restoration, and then how can we use those as we have exhibits and have field trips and tours of the Wright House once it's restored. So if you'll share your comments and your ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Okay. So go ahead, turn to a shoulder partner and share your thoughts.
I think we need to be able to look forward into the different ways that this building can be used.
Each generation,
Do we have a meeting These are views.
oftentimes don't see themselves in
No, them are all being
the
talked about.
possibility of being that
College is
close. It's like that
If they do
history,
end up,
that's how people used to be, how does that connect?
kids come in, put out some presentations, that's been talked about. So they go to the steering committee meetings all the time too, so they get to hear the inside stuff that they're talking about.
I heard someday you're gonna do that.
That
And
one
they
right
talk
there.
about community center,
You know, I think to me, we better start with faith. I love that. This is a faithful group.
a visitor center,
Because we're just saying that this is God's work. And
community
we're not,
spaces
we're
for
just
like
putting ourselves out there.
studying, whatever. But like you said, they got ideas of small business attention. I came up with some ideas. I told them, I wish I had the question. Barber, the overhead, the income is pretty good for what you get set up.
Exactly. Right. And so it's not just using them, which we want to, but it is having the faith
It's 20-25%, whatever they make, get almost to 100%.
my little piece of
It's just continuous, it's always coming in. Sustainable type money, but you know, we gotta have something, yes, gotta have something to use the money for. Rather than just a museum that might only be open 1 day a week. It's not gonna cover, right. So, you know, they talked about that, a Wi-Fi room, like you're saying. They talked about maybe a small coffee.
I heard too many.
Walk in, get a coffee, sit down, and the Wi-Fi. I mean, they want to step out of Valley, similar to that. There's enough people in town to do more than as far as I see it.
Yeah, it's taken on its own.
As far as the museum type things, there's so many things in that hands in. You can fill that museum up. It'd be really silly to think it wouldn't happen.
Could this also be a place where we could sell like David Mackin's books and histories?
And merchandise, yeah, absolutely. You could make a room.
Yeah, like a little gift shop.
Yeah, a gift shop.
The Valley is going to continue to need that community to stay.
And hopefully, I think a museum focus on him. Yeah. Anything that was built should be associated with that, should be in there. Just like the Wright Museum, but Alma, with him as and Alma's produced a lot of stuff. We really have a lot of industry over the years. Just where the the pontoon factory is. That's where Republic Truck was. Second or third largest truck company in the world. And they sold the trailers, which were Silver Moon trailers. They had one in Lucy and Desi in that movie. Long trailer, I think. And now you're making pontoons there, so you can take your truck, haul your trailer and your pontoon, and they've all been built in the same spot. That's what I like.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Right on that spot.
And then they have the Boy Scouts carry this stove kit. It's a metal box like this. It's two interhooking
Wright House
trays that you can cook on.
many more years.
You got two stands like this, right over top. There's your utensils. You pull it apart. The one can be used as a cup. And those were built right here.
Oh my gosh.
Like 1918.
That's so cool.
There's still a couple of them. They're rare to see, but when you
Kept alive.
stuff, Butcher's got a good story.
Oh
Full of
yeah,
trucks.
I heard his story at the library.
Good.
Well,
That was fascinating.
No, real fascinating.
Sarah,
I think we should. I'm trying to tie in lumber because that was his main money maker, but that's proving a little tricky.
Did Dave have trouble with that one?
Well, he just wrote a book on it. Yeah, building pipes. That's a basically a lumber book. Which makes sense.
Yes.
Figuring something in a museum like that, that's a little tricky. But each room, I don't know if you've been in there.
Just the downstairs.
Really interesting kind of museum. Your experience of this place. What happened to each of those kinds of because
They're not,
he
my
was
fingers are taking a beat. I broke them all except
beginning of the Republic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was
well,
involved.
Look where that went.
this one broke right.
There's so many things that go on in the museum.
Yeah, but anyways,
There's a lot of it.
yeah, there's lots of things we can do to make them a decent looking museum, I think. The offshoots, like I said, cafe, gift shop, Wi-Fi room, even a small room, like I said, the lumber shop. There's lots of ideas they're tossing around, but again,
Hearing all the
I don't know what would work or what. I got ideas. I think the barber shop, something similar like that, low overhead, maximize the money. You're talking clippers, they don't need much electricity they use. It's very low overhead.
We're going to engage in another activity now. Thank you for your thinking. Please feel free to post those on the Facebook page, your thoughts, share your ideas, because as Chris, you have a group that's working on curricula, or will be. Yeah, you haven't started yet, but you will be. And some of those ideas will be important. Some of the exhibits that we put in there will be important. And Luana, will you share this? It's so beautiful, so perfect. I asked her to send it to me. Will you share that for us?
I came across some verbiage that really described this whole project. I was reading some history somewhere, and I pieced it together to make it fit the Ami Wright project. I picture this on a plaque somewhere, up in the house, on the house, in our writings, whatever. It says, "We need to be the keepers of this cultural flame called the Ami Wright House, the beginning of a beautiful friendship between the residents of Gratiot County and this historical landmark to be cherished by future generations."
Isn't that beautiful? The keepers of this cultural flame.
I love that.
That's word pictures come to mind, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It will probably be in the next grant. And you just won yourself a spot on the grant writing. Okay. I'm asking you now if you'd each take one of the little Post-it notes. Just make sure you distribute one to everyone and something to write with. And a few of you will have to exclude yourself from this activity because you know the answer, but most of you won't.
You don't get a Post-it note, I guess.
Okay?
You don't get one either?
I don't get
Okay.
mine either.
All right, so you have a slip of paper, Post-it note, you have something to write with. Okay, here's our question. A mother goes to Smith Memorial Hospital in 1946 and gives birth to a baby and stays for 3 days in the hospital. How much was the total hospital bill, including room and board, birth certificate, use of delivery room, and any drugs, dressings that were administered? Okay? Make your guess, write it down, okay? We'll give you 10 seconds to take a guess on that. And then what we're going to do is ask you to line up. If you thought it was free, I guess you'd be down here. And if you think it was $100,000, you'd be down here. Okay, so line up one by one based on, if you have a low number, kind of go down this way and make your way. Ask each other what your numbers are so you're in a row from least amount to most.
It's not too far
Call
off.
out your number, you don't have to make it a secret.
Do you know the answer?
I probably got a pretty good idea.
He didn't get it.
Am I close?
You're a little light. That's not bad though.
Yeah. They're coming in, some of them coming in closer than I thought they would.
Yeah, they're real close.
Can I watch the test?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you ain't hurting nothing.
Look way down.
Okay.
How much are you?
So let's kind of call out there right here. Dale, you think you have a
No, there's no room in there.
Oh, yeah, make it move down.
We're making our own.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mike, what'd you say?
$5.
$5.
25.
36.
38.50.
40.
46.
50 for three of us.
Okay.
56. 57.
75 for us too?
127.
$248.
250.
200.
300. 234.
Oh, I must be in the wrong spot.
One of us is.
And what was yours? Luann?
350.
350. Okay, so we've got from what was again?
$5.
$5. And the answer is we're giving a mug away to the closest guest. Whoops. Sorry. That's the wrong way.
Standing in the way.
Where's my other one?
Oh, probably in the way of
Yeah.
Oh, I know what happened. I didn't want Rochelle to see it, so I didn't.
That's funny.
I didn't see
Right to
it.
get you in the head.
I bet. You were close. Who got the bug? You were real close. You misleading.
Yeah.
Man. But I wasn't close enough. I wasn't close enough.
No?
127.
She had 27. I thought that was a little light.
Oh, well, you would have been close.
She would have been closest.
Drugs and dressing, $1.05.
That's crazy.
We owe Pat Clark for coming up with that. She's going through her baby book and discovered not only her birth certificate, but her mom had kept the bill from the hospital. That's really remarkable. It's so neat to have that.
I would have thought.
Yeah, I said she was a bargain, you know. Okay.
5 cents.
Pat, I'm so curious. I have not seen an actual birth certificate from there. Are they a decorative type?
They're a 9 by 12 or whatever, and they have a picture of the Ami Wright, well, Smith Memorial, but the home on it. And they, on the back, they have our little footprints. They're very cool. Very cool. They don't give a whole lot of information. I think mine says born to Mr. and Mrs., you know, they didn't give your mother's maiden name or anything. On the back was my mom's thumbprint, you know, that was on there. So,
One's a hospital record, one's a birth certificate.
yeah, so kind of fun information. Good trivia question.
1940s, most babies were still being born at home.
Right.
Let's look at some news and some updates that you kind of wanted to be hearing. We have 2,400 plus. I think we're close to 2,500, aren't we, Elmer?
We're creeping right up there.
Yeah, we're so grateful for that because we're hearing from lots of people, and I love the posts and the information and the letters and the things that they come up with. So thank you so much for staying on top of that. That's a lot of people to welcome all the time. And please go on there and post, welcome them. If you have something else, post it. We want to keep it really up to date and changing all the time. And we want to thank Jim Hirschman. Jim volunteered to pick up the Wright House flagpole, refinish it, and make a new base. And Steve Bacher is searching for a vintage ball topper for the pole. So the people are generously donating to the project, and we appreciate that. So thank them when you see them. The Strossacker Foundation visited the Wright home. I learned tonight that they might have had a little nudge to come to Strossacker, and we thank Mary for that. She's a friend to the CEO, Kimberly's mother, and she said, you know, I don't want to interfere, but you know, you might really want to fund this project. And so they came on May 6th. Steve Bacher and I had the pleasure of walking them through it. And I'm telling you, if enthusiasm sells, and we think it does, we sold them. Because we were kind of going, oh, you see these hinges, and look at these stained glass, and look at this wood. We were pretty geeked out about it. So we've asked for $100,000, and their board meets June 3rd, so we'll know if they have funded that. So we were grateful for the opportunity to show them that. They were headed to the high school. They had donated to some of the turf for the high school.
Yes.
Yeah, Mary.
Well, I just might add that Bobby's husband coached at Elma High School for a period of time, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame of the high school. And her 3 children were born in Elma at the time her husband was coaching, so it wasn't hard to chat with her and say, let me know if I can help you with your decision.
Kimberly told us, she said, I was born in Alma, so it was good, making those connections. Steve Bacher really is good about digging in and making connections and saying, okay, who do they know and who can we make those connections? So he must have been a politician somewhere in his life, I don't know. But then Pat Clark and Chris Kimler traveled over to Shields. Remember, we thought we had a mom we were interviewing, and it turned out her babies were born at Wilcox. Well, this is Peggy Morey and her daughter Debbie Grande, and she was born at Smith Memorial Hospital in 1950. And they have a videotape of that, so we're going to be able to display that in the nursery and have her talking about her children were born. Did we figure out?
Her daughter said she was mixed up.
Okay, that she wasn't born there. She would have had to have been 16 when Peggy was born. So yeah. So really neat story. And if we have more of them, we'll record more of them if we can find more moms that were born there. We have some people on Facebook that have said, you know, I was born there, and then in 1961, I went to Northwood Institute. I think that would be fun interviews as well, to just see them at different points in their lives. So lots kind of going on around this nursery. This little sweet baby, Pat Clark is donating 2 real-life baby dolls to the nursery. And we have 2 1940s hospital bassinets. So what we're hoping to do is restore that and have it look like it might have been 1945 or so. And we're so grateful for these great finds and these sweet babies. We also have over here, Chris Kimler texted me the other day and said, "Do you want this baby scale?" And she sent me 3 of them. She says, "Which one do you want?" And I said, "Well, I'm partial to the pink." And she said, "Of course you are." And I think when I was on this baby scales, that was probably the last time I was comfortable being on a scale. But it gives directions if the baby weighs 20 pounds. And I thought, whoa, the baby shouldn't be weighing 20 pounds. That's here, that baby scale. And so it'll be very cool to have that on display. And Ami Wright, thanks to Bobby Bush, is going to make an appearance at the Highland Festival Parade, so we're looking forward to that. And a project video is in the works to document the progress and highlight our community. Thank you, John Kimler. You want to say anything more about that, John?
No.
Thanks for sharing.
The gentleman that is doing this for us is coming out of Grand Rapids, and he will be here the weekend of Memorial Day, and he will be taking some drone video footage of the Wright House and of the parade and different things around Elma, and I think he'll also probably touch on the Gratiot historical offerings too. So it's a work in progress. It'll take a while.
If we can have that kind of throughout, you know, get footage throughout that restoration project, that'll be huge.
He's working on kind of 2 videos. One is going to be a promotional video for the Wright House and the Historical Society. We're going to try to include pictures of all of the Historical Society. And he's also going to be zeroing in on farming in Gratiot County.
Okay.
So this is going to be something that we want to use in the museum. We hope that there'll be a room in the museum where you can go in and sit down for 10 minutes and watch the history of the farming, because there's so much that A.W. Wright did with farming.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to try and incorporate that. We're going to get pictures of the advanced thrash machine in action, the steam engines running yet and thrashing.
That'll be awesome. And thank you. I know John and Chris are donating toward that, and we appreciate that very, very much. That's going to be key, and it'll be a great exhibit piece. And it plays into our grants as well. And so the roof has had a lot of conversations about it. But thanks to a lot of research, Steve Bacher's not here tonight, but I think it might be because his eyes are all red and blurry from reading so much online and digging into old newspapers. We first thought, no, it wasn't a tile roof. And then we thought, okay, the original roof was tile roof, because we thought that they had borrowed some tile when they built on the hospital addition to it from the carriage house. And so we thought, okay, maybe that's always been there. Well, in digging some more, they discovered that there was a huge hailstorm this size, in 1911. And so it did a lot of damage to buildings. And so he could read in the newspaper, the Alma Record, I think it was called at the time, that the building, the Ami Wright's home, got a new tile roof in August of 1911. So that was about a year before he passed away, but it wasn't the original roof. It was one that was put on following the hailstorm. We're still not absolutely sure what that original roof, or do we know?
Well, I found a picture from 1906.
Okay.
And it has tiles on it.
Does it?
It does.
This is controversial.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's back and forth.
Yeah, it's back and forth. Okay, yes.
I just have a quick question. Are they going to be constructing the chimneys on the outer part of the house, redo chimneys?
Good question.
Because it looks so
I
ridiculous.
think right now, and I don't think we made a final decision, we had asked the sandstone quotes, we'd ask them to restore at least one of the chimneys. They are $20,000 a chimney. And so I don't know if we can afford to put all of them back up, but we want at least one of them to be put back up. So we are still hopefully on track to award a bid and have them come in and put a new roof on this summer. Because that really is critical. It's leaking and we need to stop the deterioration. So, yeah, at least that's, every day it changes. So that's the story of the roof. The new fence should be finished this week. I think there are some states out there where it goes. We're told that they should be finishing that very soon. Jeremy Bunting has toured the home. Many of you know him, and provided an estimate for refinishing all the hardwood floors in the Wright home. We were pleased that this number of $39,269. We're sharing these numbers with you, and we haven't awarded the bids. We don't have the money, and it's not time to refinish the floors. But we want to be very transparent with you and let you know kind of what to expect. The big dollar signs are really around that sandstone and the roof. After we get past that, then we've been trying to get some of those estimates in, and sometimes we ask for those in a grant. We ask specifically for a certain thing. So he broke it up, first floor, stairs, and second floor. And so we'll, have to decide as we go along, but that was encouraging. Freed's Construction, actually the bid came in today to the demolition of the fire suppression system, which we don't need as a museum, and it is kind of ugly. All those pipes going through there, and it's only $32.43. Steering committee members haven't seen that until tonight, so that's much less than we'd gotten just a kind of a line item from a general contractor that said $15,000, so this is much better. Plumbing estimate, and again, we'll probably get more estimates in, but the one plumbing estimate we have is $27,100. We are asking for this in a grant. You'll hear about that in a moment.
Question on that.
Yes.
Question on the plumbing estimate. Are we talking about bathrooms and sinks?
What I believe that, and I haven't looked at the details of that estimate, I believe we're looking at a restroom that would be for guests, and we're thinking that would probably be in that hospital part. There is a bathroom there, but of course it isn't hooked up or anything. And we probably want to make that handicap accessible, and it'd have a toilet and a sink. Yeah.
I was just.
And the caterer's kitchen. There'd be plumbing out to that.
My query was, because we are a museum, are we mandated to have more than one bathroom? That was.
And I think we need to get a little more consultation on that. I'm not sure. I think
you have that the second story remains
right,
of the bathroom.
right,
so.
yeah, absolutely. We'd want one for sure on the main floor. Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that we have a consultant that we can guide us, and also contractors who can say, yeah, the building for this use requires this. And so, yeah, thank you for that question. Good question. Heating and cooling, again, we have one estimate in so far, and it's $142,440. That's the heating and the cooling. They did break that out separately, so if we didn't go with the air conditioning right away. This one is putting furnaces in the attic, I think. So, and again, we'll get more of those in. And then corporate fundraising is underway. We've identified some locally owned businesses because, you know, if the business isn't locally owned, it's a lot more steps for fundraising. And industries as well as farm operations and individuals that can lead to phase 1 of the restoration. Steve Brown, John Lapine, and Corey Peischer, am I saying it right?
Yes.
Are on that committee, and I think they're also looking into doing some naming or plaque kind of a level of funding. And so if you want your name on a plaque or a building or something, you have enough money, yeah, it'll be on there. And if you have $20 to give, we still appreciate that very, very much. So they're looking into that. The grant writing team is submitting applications to the Gratiot Community Foundation. We're going to request that plumbing and really the approach we're taking with that one is that we have a lot of low-income families, children that don't have a lot of access to cultural exhibits, and so bringing them in there, having a standards-based curriculum and exhibits for them is going to be very important, and we can't do that without plumbing. Carolyn helped me come up with that one, so thank you, Carolyn. And so we need a bathroom if they're coming in there. So that one's due June 1st. We decided to go big or go home on the Consumers Energy Foundation. They have a prosperity grant, and we're requesting $500,000. That's a lot, but we're requesting it. They have priorities, and one of them is to address blight in communities, and we think ours qualifies for that. Unfortunately, it does. And also, they are committed to arts and culture and having that museum in Alma, having it, that legacy. We're really emphasizing 3 components. We're saying, you know, there's going to be a local history, and we'll tie it to if it's 3rd grade or whatever it is. And there's also going to be some hands-on experiments like sandstone and whatever kind of thing. And then there's going to be a character education component, that these values and stuff. So I think it's a pretty strong proposal. And, you know, what's the worst they can say is no, right? So I asked, and Carolyn asked last night for letters of support from some people. We already today have 2 of those in, and they're very good and they're very strong for those 2 grant proposals. So huge thanks to the people helping put together these grant proposals. Alma College has pledged their support and that of the Alumni Association. So I think we have some people meeting with Alma College folks again soon. Hopefully those dollars will come in and help fund phase 1.
There's no idea about how much.
I don't think we've been given any idea, have we, Rochelle, on dollars? No. And Rochelle's done a great job. She said, I haven't done any writing before, and I said, really? Because it's very well written. So go to the website and look at the blog. She's going to update it weekly. There's some really great information on the website. And that becomes important in these grants. They want to know website, they want to know social media, they want to know how you're getting the word out. So it doesn't hurt to say we have 2,400 people on Facebook. And then we have Reunion coming up, and Bobby's going to talk a little bit more about different aspects of this. But August 17th, 2024 in Wright Park, we're going to have a reunion for all the babies born at Smith Memorial. That's 7,000. I hope, you know, we get at least 700 of them there. We're going to have T-shirts. We're going to have group photos. We're going to have tours of the Wright House, the hospital nursery when it was Smith Memorial. And so Jim Goodspeed and Bobby Bush are really on this. We're trying to get donations for some food we'd serve and beverages and get the word out. I'm thinking maybe a good tie-in. John and Mary, can you come up and share your idea? They came up with this very cool idea, and I want them to share it with you. that ties in with these babies and these that have grown up. And keep in mind, the babies that are born there are probably from 68 to 90 years of age right now. Yes. Yeah. They're not kids anymore.
Thank you, Pat, and thank you for inviting us. I'm John Skinner, and this is my sister, Mary.
And so I just want to talk to you about our motivation. Like all of you, we're really strongly tied to Alma. My mother graduated from Alma High School in 1934. My dad taught at Alma High School in the early 40s. And all of us kids went through high school, or Wright Avenue School, Stillwell Junior High, and Alma High School. And we walked by stuck through the coal yard. We were told we could not walk through that coal yard, but it was such a good shortcut from College Street. I couldn't resist, so we all snuck through to go to Wright Avenue. Then we snuck through and we passed the Annie Wright building to go to Stillwell Junior High and Alma High School. My oldest brother, Ted, graduated in 59. Rich graduated
62.
Thank you. I graduated in 64 and John in 68. So we have a big interest in Alma High and education. So we thought, how do we tie this in to donating to the Alma Wright thing? So we came up with this idea, and think about how you can help us hatch it. It'll be launched at the night of the trivia or the auction, that thing. And so we're not crafty. We can't build anything or bake cookies. So this is what we're doing to raise money and see how it works. He's much smarter than I am, so he can.
And Ted is much smarter than both of us put
Ted
together.
is the oldest one, is very smart.
Yeah, so the thought was that we would reach out to people in our classes and try to get them to donate.
John Kemmler's in my class.
And then we thought, we know people from 59 to 68. We could reach out to our friends in those classes. And then we thought, let's reach out to all the graduates of Alma High School. I did a little math in my head. I'm guessing there's well in excess of 100,000 graduates of Alma High School alive. And I think particularly those in our age group are starting to get a little sentimental in our... starting to get a little sentimental.
Ted's 83, isn't he?
Yeah. How many of you are graduates of Alma High School?
Great.
Okay, and some of you in that 59 to 68 range?
I'm 72 today. I graduated in 1970.
Born in 68.
Did you graduate from Alma?
Yes.
Oh, you moved from Mount Pleasant down to Alma,
And I
right?
remember you.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Yeah. I remember Luana was in school at the same time, and you know, yours was about the last class to graduate from
I have the
the vacant lot.
Old Alma High School.
So
I'm taking notes.
we don't know exactly what this is going to look like, but we're between now and the fundraiser. What's the date for that? We're going to try to come up with the details, and the idea is to use word of mouth to reach out to as many graduates of Alma High School as possible, and possibly even St. Louis, Ithaca, Breckenridge, because